Ever felt stuck in a heated argument, unsure how to move forward? Arguments can quickly spiral out of control. But what if I told you there's a better way? In today's video, we're breaking down the art of mastering arguments without turning them into battles. Have you ever felt like arguments are less about solving problems and more like battles to be won? That's because, in many ways, they are. Arguments can feel like emotional minefields, full of triggers and traps that are easy to step into. But why is that? Let's break it down. Arguments often go beyond facts and logic. They're deeply tied to personal beliefs, values, and past experiences. And when these are challenged, it can feel like a personal attack, even when it's not meant to be. That's why people get defensive. Their ego kicks in, and suddenly, the conversation isn't about the issue anymore. It's about protecting pride and proving a point. But here's the key insight. Most arguments aren't really about what's being said on the surface. They're about how people feel, unheard, misunderstood, or even threatened. And once emotions take over, the chances of finding common ground start to shrink. So, what can you do? Step 1 is awareness. Recognize that arguments are rarely about facts alone. Pay attention to the emotions at play, not just in the other person, but in yourself too. Are you feeling attacked? Defensive? Frustrated? Identifying these emotions allows you to step back, take a breath, and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Pro tip: instead of immediately trying to win the argument, shift your mindset. Ask yourself, what's really going on here? What is this person trying to express, beyond the words they're saying? When you make the effort to understand rather than overpower, you open the door for real communication instead of combat. By the end of this chapter, you'll start to see arguments in a whole new light. Not as battles to win, but as opportunities to connect, learn, and even grow stronger relationships. Ready to dive deeper? Let's move to the next chapter and uncover how to keep emotions in check while staying in control. The secret to mastering arguments isn't about winning, it's about understanding. Sounds simple, right? But let's be honest, when emotions are high, it's easy to get defensive or push back without really hearing what the other person is saying. That's where things often spiral out of control. So, how do you flip the script? It starts with a pause. Instead of jumping to conclusions or planning your next comeback while the other person is still talking, take a breath and really listen. Not just to their words, but to the emotions behind them. Try this. Ask clarifying questions like, "Can you help me understand why you feel that way? What's most important to you in this situation? Is there something I'm missing here?" These questions do two powerful things. They show that you're genuinely interested in their perspective, and they de-escalate tension by making the other person feel heard. But don't stop there. Go a step further and acknowledge their emotions. You can say something like, "I can see that this is really important to you. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated about this." When you validate their feelings without dismissing them, you build trust. And trust is the foundation of any productive conversation. Now, here's the game changer. Practice empathy. Imagine yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if you were in their position? What would you need to hear to feel understood? When you make empathy a habit, something amazing happens. The tone of the conversation shifts. Suddenly, it's no longer me versus you. It becomes two people working together to solve a problem instead of fighting to prove who's right. And that's the magic of understanding. It's not about giving up your point of view. It's about creating space for both sides to be heard. When you approach arguments this way, finding common ground becomes not just possible, but natural. So, ready to turn arguments into opportunities for deeper connection? Let's keep going and explore even more strategies in the next chapter. Now that you've shifted your focus, it's time to build bridges instead of walls. You've already started listening, asking questions, and practicing empathy. Great work. But what's next? Finding common ground. Here's the truth. No matter how different your opinions seem, there's almost always something you both care about, a shared value, a mutual goal, or even a common frustration. And identifying that common thread can completely transform the dynamic of the conversation. Start with this question. What outcome are we both hoping for here? This simple question shifts the focus from who's right to what's possible. It reminds both of you that, at the end of the day, you're not enemies, you're just two people trying to solve a problem. Pro tip: highlight how your perspective might benefit them, too. Frame your ideas in a way that shows you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about them as well. For example, I get that you're concerned about this deadline, and I think my approach might actually help us meet it faster. It sounds like we both want to make sure this project is a success. What if we try this solution to cover both of our priorities? And here's where the magic word comes in: compromise. Arguments often stall because both sides feel like they have to win or lose. But what if there's a middle ground? What if both sides can walk away feeling heard and satisfied? That's what compromise is all about, giving a little to gain a lot. Try saying, "What can we do to make this work for both of us? I'm willing to adjust my approach if it helps us move forward." What about you? Collaboration beats confrontation every single time. When you stop seeing the argument as a battle and start treating it as a team effort, amazing things can happen. So take a step back, look for common goals, and work together to find a win-win solution. Ready to keep building those bridges? Let's dive into the next chapter and explore strategies to keep the momentum going. When it's your turn to speak, this is your moment to shine, so make it count. But here's the thing: how you say something can be just as important as what you say. That's why sticking to logic, evidence, and a respectful tone is your best strategy for being heard and taken seriously. Let's start with the basics: facts and data. Nothing strengthens your argument like credible information. Whether it's statistics, studies, or real-world examples, having evidence on your side adds weight and authority to your points. For instance, instead of saying, "I just think this idea will work better," try, "According to recent research, this approach has increased efficiency by 20%. See the difference? Facts eliminate guesswork and help you focus on solutions instead of emotions. But here's the catch: your tone matters. You can have all the evidence in the world, but if your delivery comes off as harsh or condescending, you risk losing your audience before you even finish speaking. So watch your words. Avoid phrases like, "You're wrong," "That's ridiculous," "You don't understand." Instead, try, "I see your point, but here's another perspective to consider. I appreciate your input. Can I share what I've found?" This keeps the conversation open and respectful. Exactly what you need to keep progress flowing. Now let's talk flexibility. Being prepared is important, but being adaptable is even more powerful. What if their feedback highlights something you didn't think about? What if they actually have a point? Don't panic. Lean into it. Acknowledging valid points shows confidence, not weakness. You can say, "That's a great observation. I hadn't considered that before. Let's build on it. You're right about that part. I think we can combine both ideas to make this even better." See what happens. Instead of getting defensive, you turn the discussion into a collaboration. That's the ultimate win. Remember this: arguments aren't tests of dominance. They're opportunities to learn, grow, and solve problems together. So, stay calm, lead with logic, and stay open to new ideas. Ready to see what's next? Let's keep building those skills in the next chapter. Remember, the goal isn't to defeat your opponent. It's to create a resolution that works for everyone. Think of it this way: arguments aren't battles, they're puzzles. And the best way to solve a puzzle isn't by tearing it apart, it's by working together to fit the pieces. So, how do you create a positive experience? It all starts with intent. Ask yourself, am I here to prove a point, or am I here to find a solution? That shift in mindset can completely change the tone of the conversation. Focus on collaboration, not competition. Imagine the argument as a bridge you're building, not a wall you're defending. Keep the discussion constructive by looking for common ground and highlighting areas of agreement, even small ones. For example, "I think we both want what's best for the team. It seems like we're aiming for similar goals, just in different ways." Acknowledging these shared goals keeps the atmosphere positive and keeps both sides invested in finding solutions. And here's the secret ingredient: respect. When people feel heard, valued, and respected, defenses drop and cooperation rises. Try these techniques to build trust. Summarize their points to show you're paying attention. "So what I'm hearing is that you're concerned about timelines. Is that right?" Thank them for their input. "I really appreciate you sharing that perspective. It's helpful." Stay calm and patient, even if things get tense. Your tone can either diffuse tension or fuel it. Choose wisely. But what about disagreements? They're inevitable. And that's okay. The key is to disagree without being disagreeable. Focus on the issue, not the person, and use phrases like, "I see it differently, but I get where you're coming from." Let's explore both options and see what might work best. When both sides feel heard and respected, the conversation stops being a fight and starts becoming a partnership. And here's the best part. You don't just walk away with a solution. You walk away with mutual respect, stronger connections, and a reputation as someone people trust to handle conflict with grace. So, next time you find yourself in an argument, remember, it's not about winning. It's about building understanding, trust, and progress. Ready to take these skills to the next level? Let's keep going. Mastering arguments isn't about fighting. It's about connecting, understanding, and growing together. Think of disagreements not as obstacles, but as opportunities. Chances to learn something new, strengthen relationships, and even discover creative solutions you hadn't considered before. So the next time you find yourself in a tough conversation, pause, breathe, and put these strategies into action. Start by listening actively, asking thoughtful questions, and showing empathy. Then build bridges by finding common ground, staying flexible, and focusing on solutions, not victories. Remember, the goal isn't to win the argument. It's to create a space where both sides feel heard, valued, and respected. That's how you turn conflicts into collaborations and tension into trust. And here's the challenge for you. Try one of these techniques in your next conversation. Whether it's at work, at home, or even with a friend, see how it changes the dynamic. You might be surprised at how much smoother things go when you lead with understanding instead of defensiveness. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who might need these tips, and subscribe for more insights on mastering communication and building stronger connections. Thanks for tuning in. Can't wait to see you in the next one.